Hello everybody, this is Mr. Stamkos back, and today I'm going to be talking about Dylan Guenther, who is a prospect eligible for the 2021 NHL Draft. Now, Dylan Guenther was a guy coming into the season who probably top 5 upside in this draft. You know, obviously a weaker draft than normal, kind of like the 2017 draft. I think it'll be a bit better than that though. We'll see though. But I think Dylan Guenther coming into this draft year, I really liked him personally. I really liked his style of play. He's a good modern-day power forward like Tom Wilson with a lot more scoring upside. But we're going to go take a look at his numbers here today. So, as I said, Dylan Guenther, he is a right winger who is 17 years old right now and eligible for the 2021 NHL entry draft. Going over his rankings currently. Now, this is kind of an important part because I think these should get updated pretty soon. So, Elite Prospects has Dylan Guenther ranked 11 right now. That's mainly because he was playing in the AJHL before, and he only played 4 games there. Dauber Prospects has him ranked 7th, which is probably where around I would have him at the beginning of the year, probably around that 7-10 range. And then Bob McKenzie has him 3rd now. Bob McKenzie's rankings are kind of hit and miss, depending on who you are. I usually don't take Bob McKenzie's rankings with a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? With a lot of, I really just don't care for them much. Like, I look at them and I say, okay, here's Bob McKenzie's rankings. But Bob McKenzie's rankings, people don't know, are actually what the NHL GMs and scouts are really thinking for their team. He goes ahead and asks 10 of them for different franchises, and those are the rankings. And his average spot, I would say, is usually around 9 or 10. So, usually a guy around that bottom 10 of the, top 10. But, yeah, usually he's a top 15 prospect. I haven't seen him in a case where he's any lower than 15. So, yeah. Now let's get on to his stats. So last year, 2019-20, as a rookie in the WHL, and I believe, no, he didn't win the Rookie of the Year, but in 2019-20, in 58 games played, he had 26 goals, 33 assists for 59 points for the Edmonton Oil Kings, and over point per game as a 16-year-old kid. And also, being a guy like Tom Wilson, who's really involved in that play, very passionate, a guy who racks up those penalty minutes. He was very impressive scoring-wise as well. And I think Dylan Guenther is just going to be that modern-day power forward, like a Matthew Tkachuk type of player. And I don't know where I had him in my January or December mock draft, but, he would probably move up right now if I had to choose. But yeah, so really impressive rookie season. I don't know if he won the Rookie of the Year. It's either he did or he should have, but I don't know. So now we're going to move on to this year. So 2020-21, and he played for Sherwood Park in the AJHL, which is the American Junior Hockey League. It's similar to the USHL, which is the United States Hockey League, I think. I don't know, but they're kind of similar leagues. I would say the USHL is better than the AJHL, mainly because there's a lot more players coming out of it in the past few years. Probably since 2015, the USHL has really gone upwards for me personally. But yeah, he had 4 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists, and 5 points. I think people were expecting Dylan Guenther to really take off in the AJHL, if in those 4 games they would expect him to have like 10 to 12 points. And he really didn't take off, and he didn't look overly impressive either. He was good, yeah, he was, better than a lot of those guys, but he didn't really take off, and he didn't really exceed expectations at all. He fell probably much below those expectations that people set for him, and you can't really do anything about that, but, whiteboard fell. But obviously, he probably saw a few of those comments on Instagram or whatever, and at the beginning of the WHL season so far, he has a game today, but as of this time recording, in 2 games, he has 8 points, which is just crazy. He has a 4 points per game pace for Edmonton right now, and I know it's only 2 games, I know you're saying that, but you take a look at those 2 games, and he's been absolutely brilliant. And if he even keeps this up relatively close to these numbers, let's say even 2 points per game, I think you have another guy here who could potentially be in contention for that first overall pick. Like, no problem. And I think Dylan Guenther right now could easily work his way into the top 5 in the next couple of weeks or so if he keeps up this play, because he's playing absolutely fantastic. And there's no excuse to not be talking about how crazy his pace is through the first 2 games. And he's playing game number 3 today, so I'll take a look and see how he does tomorrow. And, that'll kind of be a test for him. But he's playing amazing. And his NHLE, which is a Frozen Tools by Dauber Prospects, I don't really take it too seriously, and nobody does. But last year, his NHLE, which is basically a projection for how much points a player is going to get in the NHL, depending on what league they play on. It's just a calculation by a league level. And last year, his rookie season, it was a 25. So that's basically saying last year, with these numbers, if he played in the NHL, he would be hovering somewhere around 25 points, which I think is great. That's like low third tier scoring, which is absolutely amazing. I did the calculations for this year through the first 2 games, and it was 99. So obviously I wasn't going to write that, but I'm going to tell you that. But I think by the end of this year, Dylan Guenther could have an NHLE of somewhere around 50 to 60 points for sure. And that's probably not going to translate into the NHL. I think Dylan Guenther is a guy where if he comes in next year to the NHL, he probably puts up somewhere around 30 to 40 in a good season, on the right team, on the right line. There's a lot of things that have to go right for that to happen. But, maybe a couple years down the line, I could definitely see Dylan Guenther hitting that 50 to 60 point plateau. I think that's probably where he caps off, around 60 to 65 points a year on average, which I think would be absolutely amazing for Dylan Guenther. But yeah, I just quickly wanted to go over Dylan Guenther today. Just tell you guys, what's up with him, his start to the WHL season, because there's really nobody talking about the WHL starting up again. And a lot of the guys who are playing in it, because really only like 2 or 4 teams have played. I don't know, but Edmonton's one of them, Red Deer's one of them, Medicine Hat's one of them, and I think there's one more, but I don't exactly know what one that is. But don't be too surprised if you're not really keeping up with the WHL. You don't know that it started up, and you see Dylan Guenther's name go first overall, and in like 20 games played or so, he has 45 points, and you're like, whoa, where did Dylan Guenther come from? I thought he was in the AJHL, but no. I think Dylan Guenther has endless scoring potential in the WHL. He's just so mature and a step ahead of everyone, even last year. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I like doing videos like this where I just talk about draft eligibles, or even guys like Matvei Michkov who are still a couple years out, or even guys who were drafted last year that are scoring on a great pace this year in higher leagues. But yeah, I'm thinking of coming out with a Seth Jarvis video soon. Tell me what you think of that by giving this video a like. And even if you just like this video, give it a like. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is Mr. Stamkos, and I'll see you in the next one.